It's time to take a trip around the world and delve into all the weird foods our species like to chow down. Unfortunately, the world isn't only full of those tasty breakfasts we generally eat every day. Consider this a public service and an education to save you from shock when you come across these, the weirdest foods from around the world. Number 1. Chicken's feet. Considering how many places it's eaten, perhaps it's unfair to deem this weird. Still, it's made mostly of the skin, making it a little gelatinous in texture. They're pretty tasty when flavored properly, but the bones get on your nerves after a while. Number 2. Haggis. A sheep's heart, liver and lungs are minced and mixed with onions, oatmeal, suet and seasoned with salt and spices cooked inside the animal's stomach. If that doesn't sound appealing, I just don't know what will. Number 3. Tripe. The stomach lining of various animals with a sponge-like honeycomb texture. Looks like some weird kind of sea plant life, and has a peculiar, and not entirely appetizing rubbery texture. Served up with various sauces to add flavor or simply with an accompaniment like onions. Number 4. Cash. A pretty gruesome little dish made up of stewed cow's feet and heads. It was once a winter comfort food but is now considered a delicacy. I'm sure it's fine, so long as you don't mind that grinning skull staring at you through its cold dead eyes. Number 5. Tuna eyeballs. Although it sounds nasty, apparently it's rather tame, tasting pretty similar to squid or octopus. None of the gunk you'd normally associate with slicing up eyeballs then? Number 6. Black pudding or blood sausage. Pretty widely available, really. Still, there are a large number of people who find the idea revolting. And silly people they are, as the finished product is tasty. Congealed blood cooked up with various natural flavorings, thickening agents like suet and breadcrumbs, and stuffed into a sausage skin, lush. Number 7. Spam. The famous mystery meat. It's said that spam is made from chopped pork shoulder meat, ham and potato starch, but who knows what ends up in there. Number 8. Hakarl. The rotting carcass of a Greenland or basking shark. It's buried underground in a shallow pit and pressed with stones, so the poisonous internal fluids that allow it to live in such cold waters can be drained out, making the meat safe to eat. After this, it's hung out to dry before being cut into strips and served. Number 9. Surströmming. Baltic Sea herrings are fermented with just enough salt used to prevent them from rotting. Mainly found tinned in brine these days, when opened it releases such a pungent aroma that it usually needs to be eaten outside. Sounds delightful. Number 10. Century egg or 100-year-old egg or 1,000-year-old egg. Yeah, okay, it's neither a century nor a millennium old, but this egg is pretty rotten. After being preserved in a mixture of clay, ash and quicklime for a few months, the yolk turns a dark green, or even black and slimy, while the white has turned to a dark brown translucent jelly. It smells strongly of sulfur and ammonia, but tastes like a hard-boiled egg. Until you breathe out, that is. Number 11. Stink heads. The fermented head of a king salmon buried underground for a few weeks and eaten as a pungent, putty-like mush. Fancy it? Number 12. Shiakara. Now, this does sound bad. A dish made of pieces of meat taken from a selection of sea creatures served in a brown, viscous paste of their own salted and fermented viscera. And mind that it's all served raw. Hope you enjoy it. Number 13. Jing lead. So, yes, this is a big old grasshopper seasoned with salt, pepper powder and chili and fried in a big wok. Tastes a little like hollow popcorn skin, except little juice squirts out when you bite into it. Nice. Number 14. Wasp crackers. Yep, you guessed it, it's a biscuit filled with wasps. Think chocolate chip cookies, only the insects replace the chalky chips. The digger wasp, which the biscuit contains, has a pretty mean sting. Number 15, Fried Spider. Fried spider is a regional delicacy popular in the Cambodian town of Skuon, prepared by marinating it in MSG, sugar and salt, and then frying it in garlic. It has more meat on it than a grasshopper, but also has brown sludge in the abdomen, which consists of mainly innards, eggs and excrement. Number 16, Witchetty grub. Part of the Australian bushmeat family, this was another staple of indigenous Australians in the desert. These can either be eaten raw when it tastes like almonds or lightly cooked, where their skin crisps like roast chicken, and its insides take on the look and consistency of a scrambled egg. Number 17, Esquimalt. Also known as insect caviar, this dish is made of the edible larvae and pupae of ants, harvested from the tequila or mezcal plant. Considered something of a delicacy, it is said to have the consistency of cottage cheese and a buttery, nutty taste. Number 18, Biondaiji. Lovely, lovely silkworm. Simply boiled or steamed and lightly seasoned, this is a popular snack all over Korea, and is usually sold from street vendors. They taste like wood if you've ever tried wood. Number 19, Escargots à la Bourguignon. Snails cooked in a sauce of white wine, garlic, butter and parsley served in their shells. Perhaps best to try in a decent, reasonably priced restaurant rather than the sauté version down a back street in Hong Kong. Number 20, Sago Delight. Edible sago grubs are said to be creamy tasting when raw or meaty, and like bacon when cooked. Generally seasoned and flavored in the same way as the other Southeast Asian creepy crawly favorite, jing lead, and served alongside. 21. Stink bugs. Used to flavor stews or eaten on their own, stink bugs are said to have a crunch to them and taste a little like an apple. Prepared by boiling, the bugs release defensive pheromones in a last-ditch attempt to survive, and while it hurts the eyes, it's no more successful than the onion's weak survival attempt. 22. Mopane worms. A big fat, juicy worm that's said to be full of meat. Although traditionally dried or smoked to preserve, they are usually rehydrated and cooked with tomato or chili sauce to flavor. It tastes like honey barbecued chicken. Do you want to give it a go? 23. Tequila worm. Not actually found in tequila but rather its cheaper cousin, mezcal. It's said that the legendary hallucinogenic properties of the worm are pretty much non-existent. All a marketing gimmick, you fools. 24. Marmite or Vegemite. Made from yeast extract, a byproduct of brewing beer, Marmite is essentially the slurry from the bottom of the barrel that most breweries just throw away. It's a sticky brown paste with a concentrated, salty flavor that's usually spread on toast or eaten with cheese. People are either love it or hate it. 25. Pickled egg. Pretty much summed up in the name, this is a hard-boiled egg that has been left to go cold and stuck in a jar of vinegar. The sour liquid penetrates right to the heart, meaning the powdery yolk in the center is uncomfortably sour. Well, the list doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the next part of the video to uncover more such weird and strange foods eaten around the world.